I'm asking, why are you insecure? Why do you need all this jewelry? Why do you need to talk about how many girls you have sex with? Why do you need to take pictures with cash in your hand?
Here in The Cut, we challenge our guests to finish a tub of ice cream before the end of the conversation. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. We're here on the cool table. My name is Adriel Smiley, a.k.a. AdrielSmiley.com, a.k.a. Adriel Smiley Official, a.k.a. The Godfather. Now, we're here with a friend of the show. He definitely holds a special place in the history of this podcast. Happy to have him here. But if you're listening to us for the first time, watching us on YouTube for the first time, we try and challenge our guests to finish a tub of ice cream before the end of the conversation. Now, we try and distract them a little bit with our questions, get them a little out of the mix. But we're here with a living legend. I feel comfortable saying that. Patrik Kabongo.
Wow.
You got a little...
I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it authentic for the camera.
Keep it authentic. Welcome, man. Welcome.
Man.
It's been a minute.
It's been, last time I was here, I think was 2019.
Nah.
Or
I
a
saw
little
you
bit before.
at Manifesto.
It's true, 2021.
And you were calling me Burn Fire as...
But you know what's messed up? I was going to say it again. When I walked in, I was like, I'm going to let him slide today. Nah, but the last time I was on this show, 2019. I think when we did that, when I did my first Cool Table interview, and I did the performance.
You were on the show before that, but that was the last
actually?
one. Yeah. You were performing, I think, at Indie Week. Or was it Indie Week or Canadian Music Week? One of the two.
Gosh,
and we were outside
right.
that restaurant.
Either that's 2016 or 17.
That was a throw. And you know what's crazy about that day? Like, I think that you were the third interview in that day, but we didn't get confirmation.
Oh
at least
my
on my
gosh,
side until
I remember exactly where it is. Far going west on, I want to say...
It's 80 something is the name of the restaurant.
It was close to like on Queen.
Yeah,
It was going far west.
You know
I still had the blonde dye on my. Oh my gosh, the frosty tips. Yeah, man. No, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing well. It's an honor to be here, pleasure to be here, and yeah, man. Like this right here, this
Crazy,
I appreciate
right?
that for real. Yeah,
man. I guess I don't know where to start because we do talk, so it's like I'm technically up to date.
Yeah,
but we haven't talked on camera
That's true.
since a lot of stuff has happened.
That's true.
The thing I always think about is getting your commercial in the NBA Finals.
Mm-hmm.
I think either you posted it or something that I knew that was happening beforehand.
Yeah,
but it still shocked me. Like even though
For
I knew
sure.
it was coming. I think it was one of the first commercials, like game one.
Yeah.
All I hear is high end.
Yeah.
Talk about that. And like, I bet your phone was blowing up when that happened.
It
That must have been a
was.
crazy experience.
No, I love that. That moment's a really important moment for me for the simple fact that it reminded me why collaborations are so important. Definitely gonna give a shout out to Chantilly Post.
Shout out Chantilly.
Man, that's that girl. And then just the fact that I wasn't even in the city to be able to have the recognition, people like recognizing my voice, hearing my voice, knowing that it was me, and then just the love I got back from it. As an independent artist who, doesn't kind of play I don't want to say the gimmick game, but the tag.
Game.
Yeah, I don't play the industry game, and to be able to have that at that point in my career was phenomenal. But at the same time, I also knew moments like that are always short-lived for me. Like they're more of it's like a fond, distant memory of what can be and what I hope to be as I continue to progress. But shout out to that moment for real, and I thank God a lot for that one. Yeah.
No, that was big. I remember like just seeing that and being like, yo, like that's my guy right there.
100%.
So, no, that was that was a huge moment. And the thing I feel like, at least since the last time we've talked on camera, is like you've put out way more music. I remember you were like putting out music pretty slowly. Like,
yeah,
I'm trying to think. It was when I first met you, it was before Spadina.
Yeah,
and you were like still teasing it like pretty often and being like, "Yo, Spadina's coming, Spadina's coming." Yeah, like
that is true.
And think about now, it's like you've put out like three mixtapes worth of music. No, like for real,
it's true.
Like just Lucy's.
Yeah,
compared to that, like what's been the change in that? Because when I first met you, like,
Yeah.
I won't think about that now, but
It's such a good observation.
because even you were like leading up to Spina for a minute before that came out, and then after that, even putting out music after that was still kind of a slow burn. Now it's like you're putting a lot of music, but even the music that people aren't even hearing, there's still a lot of that as well.
A lot, and you're and for Adriel is different because he gets to hear like a lot of unreleased music. But the main thing was just I got rid of caring so much about the result of what I put out.
Okay.
For the longest period, I was fighting with, I don't want to call it an identity crisis, but I had this self-doubt. I put out one song, okay, I get, oh man, the numbers look great. Then you put another song out, the numbers don't match that. Then you have this duality, the conflict of, okay, maybe the song's not that great. And I remember discussing that with you as well. Is it an issue that someone is versatile and they can make different genres of music, and so they're not able to really garnish that exact consistent fan base because the sound changes so often? And so I told myself, I just don't care anymore. Like if I don't get to like 50,000 streams or 1 million, whatever, I feel like those things will come. And then when I stopped caring about that, I just started challenging myself musically as an artist, as a creative director, as a creator. And I found I created my best work when I was just not passionate about the music, but when I was just passionate about the process. And then getting from Spadina, which is still my favorite piece of work that I put out, to, I tried to sing a song. Everything in between is actually accurate of where I was at emotionally, psychologically, confidence-wise, faith-wise, disciplinary. And I find if I can look at my music more as stamps of where I'm at in my life and I'm active, that means I'm being productive. And so a lot of the songs that I put out, like you said, even those that people haven't heard, I'm not trying to flood the market. I just want people to know we're here and we're here for good. Like, because took a lot of hiatuses and just trying to figure myself out. But now that I know who I am, my identity is strong. My brand is building. I'm just trying to plan everything without over planning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the over planning is huge because we don't think about it now, but The Weeknd, I feel like, had such a huge influence on everyone when he kind of came in with that mysterious vibe. No one knew who he was. And then you kind of saw him, but it was a hit. Like, and I think everyone in their head, whether they're an artist or just a creative in general, they all have their like plan of their career as like, okay, this will be the album where I'm wearing red. Then I'm going to hide my face for 3 years. And,
come back.
Everyone has that plan. And I think like being able to watch your career like in front of your own face.
You're seeing it develop. Yeah.
I think that's a huge thing.
A genius, man.
No, I think it's a huge thing because I feel like, again, we all have that in our head. But and this is like the Kanye doc Genius highlighted this a lot for people, is like we always see the finished product of like what it looks like and oh, it's so cool how he did this and then this came right after.
Yeah.
But it's like this may not even be like their plan in the first place.
At all.
Things went left 40 different times to turn into Jesus Walks, or things went left 1 million times for his album to come out.
Yeah.
And so I think that we don't do that for ourselves as much. Yeah. And that you got to give yourself the freedom. It sounds crazy to say give yourself the freedom, but you do got to give yourself the freedom because you're the one locking yourself up.
100%.
But not thinking that. And I feel like I don't think that you would be making an album like this. I tried to sing a song without that. I feel like if you were still in mystery mode,
it'd be like
there's no way you're making this project. You know,
you touched on so many crazy things all at once. There's two statements you made that brought a thought. The first one is I think The Weeknd is, for that idea alone, and I'm assuming him and his team decided that. That is the one thing that I wish I would have thought of. Like, sometimes you find someone who you admire, like, oh man, I would have thought of that, and that's usually where I keep my my measuring stick for who inspires me or whatnot. And that idea of not showing yourself and just putting out content, I think is one of the greatest, most unspoken of marketing schemes ever. The second part is, have you ever seen the movie The Prestige?
One of my favorites. It's me and my bro's favorite movie.
Say you swear.
Bro, all three of us.
Okay.
All three of us. Yeah, I've seen that movie at like 100
Go watch
times.
The Prestige.
Yeah. If you have
Christian Bale,
Michael
Hugh
Caine.
Jackman, Michael Caine.
Yeah.
I think
Christopher Nolan directed.
Yo, shout out to CN, bro. That guy's the guy. Who? There's a popular
Scarlett Johansson.
music artist that's in there.
Ooh. In the Prestige?
Yeah. He's the one that plays the man with the top hat that has the. Ooh, I can't tell you. Ooh, okay.
No. Oh, I know what you're saying.
Who is it?
No, I think that's still. Oh, David Bowie.
David Bowie's in
Tesla.
there.
Oh yeah. That's crazy.
Come on, bro.
Throwback. Okay, yeah.
So in that movie, and without explaining too much, at the ending, you start realizing how the trick is done, and it's exactly what you're saying. No one sees the actual damage.
Perfect. That's a good one.
You see the result.
Yeah.
Go watch that movie. This moment, that small segment there will blow your mind.
Yeah. Watch a movie and come back to the podcast.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's exactly that. And a lot of people, like even for myself, to be fully authentic and if I should say transparent rather, I just wanted to, at first I feel like I just did music because people told me, yo, you're a great freestyler. Yo, you could do it. And it looked cool. And I'm like, okay, I want to see my face everywhere. And then I started caring less about fame and I started loving the art. Then I started caring less about the art. I started loving the process. And now I'm in love with just who I am. And I realized, oh, those are actually parts of who I am. So be kind to yourself, love yourself, and then those things will proceed, you know?
Nah, I think the way you said about loving yourself is huge. I was saying this this past weekend. Rihanna did the Super Bowl. Everyone had mixed feelings. I thought it was underwhelming, but
the performance,
yeah. But Rihanna is still Rihanna. Let's not get it twisted.
100%.
No, Rihanna.
I'd love to hear why you think it was underwhelming.
She didn't really do much.
I mean, she's pregnant. She can't really do much, you know.
But I think compared to the past performers, everyone brought out guests,
Michael Jackson,
except for The Weeknd.
Prince
is a different monster.
You know his performance was ranked number 1, huh?
It was.
And then Michael Jackson right after.
No, Prince's performance was number 1. He summoned the rain himself. like he did a dance, he did a call, he summoned the rain himself. But in her performance, I thought she could have brought out more guests because if you look at the past people who brought out guests, they're mostly random.
But people are about branding now.
Maroon 5 brought out Travis Scott.
That's true.
Nothing to do with them.
Nothing.
Coldplay brought out Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
Like she could have done, but the whole point of the Rihanna thing was we forget about her actually enjoying the performance.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say.
It's like we expect her to care more about what we think than what she thinks.
Yeah.
And I'm here like, listen, I would hope that Rihanna enjoyed the time she spent on stage. You know, it was only 15 minutes, 12 minutes.
No, you're right. Yeah.
But it's like that is something we don't even think about and we don't do it for ourselves either. It's like, I would hate for you to blow up and you tell me you hate it. You know what I'm saying? You're like, yo, I hate rapping now. The studio is stressful. Like, you know what I mean? I would love for you to be like, as you get the most popular, you're like, bro, it is so fun to make music now.
I think there's also I believe there's also a perspective which is aligned with what you're saying, which is, I think people forget that she hasn't put out an album in years.
Like 8 years, something like that?
So this is the most nostalgic musical moment for her fan base, right? And obviously it creates anticipation. You got to remember, Beyonce just did a show in Dubai.
Yeah.
There's a marketing plan, I feel, that's aligned with this entire Rock Nation identity. Yeah. So she had the baby with A$AP Rocky. Her first public appearance in her relationship is in a video where she's manifesting visually her love for A$AP.
This was a rollout. The Super
Bowl, a rollout.
Super Bowl was
That's what I think. I could be wrong.
No.
It's a rollout.
Super Bowl was a pregnancy rollout because you know what I was saying? It's crazy to say.
A pregnancy rollout.
No, because I'm telling you,
you're gonna get mad gal cheesed.
It's about to get worse.
But it's actually true though.
It's about to get worse. I was there like, listen, she better be pregnant because at first we were like, is she pregnant? Like we didn't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I said, listen, if she wore this outfit, did all this for her not to be pregnant, that's nuts. And so it's like, no, because here's the thing: is like. She's pregnant enough where she could have worn something different and we would have no idea. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, that's why I'm saying it's a rollout because the outfit was zipped down. Yeah. It shows.
You know who else did that? You know who's the inspiration for that? Clearly for that outfit.
What?
Kanye West.
Oh, the red? Yeah.
Akira, the Tetsuo outfit from Akira. Like, come on, bro. Like,
no, at least this me. Talk about the Kanye.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if A$AP had some say in that creative direction though, because the backup dancers were wearing similar outfit color patterns to his video, Busy Bone, I think it's called.
Busy Bone.
I could give about a list.
Oh,
you heard?
yeah, I
You ever
know
seen the
that song.
video?
Yeah.
It looks very similar to that.
Nah,
Shout out ASAP Rocky.
ASAP's got music coming apparently, so I'm excited for that.
We'll see.
I want to talk about some of the songs.
Yeah.
Actually, sorry, before we get to the new project, I gotta talk
Yeah.
about this line on Limelight, where you're like top 30 underground list and get no love. Like what
is that? Pharrell?
Is that
Pharrell?
Pharrell, sorry,
Yeah.
Pharrell.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about that because I feel like
For sure.
you putting that in there, obviously super direct in terms of being
course.
like, nah,
Yeah.
I should have got love there. And is there something special about that list that was that cheesy, or it's just in general you feel like they be giving people shout outs that you should be getting?
So I think it's more like a observation. I don't actually have an opinion about it. One, I thought it was cool to talk about because then it creates this where people are like, yo, I think he's cheesed. I actually really don't care. The thing that I do care about is the observational perspective we have on what makes one, the underground scene, and then two, how do we define who's like top one to whoever, right? Because personally, if we go song to song, I don't think there's a better writer in the city than me. And I mean that individual writers, not you have a team of writers. I don't think anyone writes better than me. Performance-wise, I don't think anyone performs better than me. I've done things at shows that I've seen other of my peers do, and I'm like,
Now we know we were there at Manifesto. We know
you
that.
know, so I'm not gonna, And I think just adjusting to the matter, and also just not being a diva as well.
Yeah,
like a lot of times people see me talk about this, and I just like being straightforward. I'm a very confrontational person, and I don't shy away from uncomfortable conversations. Some people might think, oh, yo, this guy's a hater, but people. The thing I love is people know me before they know me as an artist. I'm not a hater. I'm not cocky. I give just due to everybody because I know a lot of people that work hard. But so I addressed that list because it showed me that a lot of the list, first off, I think if I remember from my memories, 78 to 79.9% are trap rappers.
Okay, so trap is getting the love.
Trap is always getting the love in the city of Toronto, right? Because you got to identify with the neighborhoods. And that I actually understand because you want to rep your borough, you want to rep your neighborhood, you want to push what comes from your neighborhood. And a lot of neighborhoods, unfortunately, there's so much animosity that if more neighborhoods just let go of the beef, that list would look a lot different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The beef is part of the list.
The beef is a part of the list. And then you have the ones that aren't from the projects that get the love, but that's customary to the visibility, right? So then it becomes, do aesthetics have a part in saying who's better or in the subject matter of who's better than who else is the other person, whatever. And that's why I don't care. Because what I love about the list is the only motivation from it is it helps me go look at someone else's music and say, okay, if I would have made a song like this, how could I have, from my subjective perspective, made it better? And that's where the whole versatility thing is important because out of 30 people, I asked myself that, like, and not even in precise list. I'm like, out of 30 people, what is it that they're doing that you're not doing for them to be considered and for you not to be considered?
Yeah.
The other thing too is I'm not a busybody. I like to keep to myself.
Yeah.
I don't want to just go chop it up with people just to say I was there. I don't like being in places just to say I was there.
That's pretty sus.
And a lot of people do that. And I made a joke, and like, this is not shade or anything, but I made a joke about Dundas Square being the new, yo, I was there.
Which is crazy. Oh,
I really want to ask that. Do you think you're told when your billboard's about to be up, or do you just go there and wait?
That's a good question.
To whoever had it, I really want to know because I've had
in the comments. Let us know.
And it's not a shot at anyone because I think it's dope that people have their music in the billboards. And me, I'm a downtown kid, so if I ever were to have it for myself, I'd feel it. But I want to know: do you just sit there and wait for it to pop up, or they're like, "Hey guys, we got the call," like. And I've had meetings with a lot of the advertising companies that do those billboards. If you knew how much it... Next comment.
Listen, it's worth it for the post. These posts...
It is.
It's worth it for the post.
It's worth it. Yo, anything... It's not even... You know what it is now? Quote me on this. It's not about anything for the clout. It's anything for the algorithm.
Which is wild.
That's what it is now.
And you know what I think, too, is like, you're seeing a lot of people kind of step out of character just...
Listen, man, you said it, not me.
The look you gave.
said it, not me, bro.
Nah, a lot of people stepping out of character just to like get popping, get buzzing. And I think here's the thing I try to explain to a lot of people who like are not in the industry is that like the appearance of being cool is appearance a key word. And no, and you got to do the math on it. Like the people who are the most famous are actors, actresses, performers. And those were the kids who were in the arts at your school, which are quote unquote not the cool kids.
Exactly.
And so it's like when you see so-and-so who's been in acting their whole life, act a certain way, it now is cool that they're in their 30s and they're famous.
And they're doing exactly what you thought was cool.
But it's the dude who, when you know, they weren't cool. So you kind of look at that like, you're thinking they're cool because they're famous. Yeah. But that does not make them cool. That's not your
core belief. It wasn't your core belief.
You know, it's like they still may be uncool. Now they're just famous and uncool. And so it's like a lot of the appearance of being cool, I think, it seems to work, which is pretty crazy. Yeah. But I think it's part of what the consumer thinks. The consumer is looking at it like, this person is so cool. They're so different than me. You know, and I think as an artist, you get caught into that of like,
for sure.
Because most of the time for artists, I'm doing the show for a long time, I've seen it where it's like, shit, you are not what I thought you were gonna be. Like,
we had this discussion on the phone. Listen, man, that's the disheartening part for me.
A lot of people like that, and I think with this project, you're not letting people think that. You know, 100%. It's like there's no way you can come into it with that. Yeah, it's like it's not like they're gonna think you're cool or not cool.
Yeah, I hope they don't think I'm cool. Actually,
but it's like whatever they thought that you were cool for before, that's not what's happening on this project
at all.
So it's like, if I thought his rapping was so cool and that's what I always thought about him, and you know, it's like I'm sure he's still cool, but that I can't apply those cool points. To this project. I think you have a song on here that I've told you this many times. I think is gonna be
monumental.
Monumental. That's from Black Boys to Men.
From Black Boys to Men.
And you start off that song by saying, "Why you insecure?" Yeah. And you're not the first person to say that. I sent you a song called Insecure.
Yes. And I ended up listening to it. I see why you I see why you said that. And that song is unreal.
But I like that you start off the song that way because in the song Insecure,
he breaks out a whole bunch of other things relationship wise.
But the similarity, you guys are both talking about men. Yeah. He's talking about himself and you're talking about black others. Men. Yeah. And both those things are very rare.
Synonymous.
When you're saying why so insecure, usually it's a man calling a woman insecure, or a woman calling a man insecure. Yeah. So you starting off like that, why was that the place to start that song? Because that song obviously gets deeper and we're gonna talk about that, but starting it with why so insecure? Like, what made you start it like that?
I think, sorry, I gotta stop saying I know. I believe it came from a sentiment I had prior to writing the song. I don't want to say I'm not insecure, but I understand what could be an insecurity in regard to myself. Mm-hmm. And I had to fight myself a lot because I was very insecure. And that kind of goes back to the whole aspect of, you know, a lot of people don't know, I started singing before I even started rapping. Mm-hmm. And then the Barry White voice came during puberty, and I'm like, yo, it's game over. We're done. Set up shop. It's finished.
Not gonna be Luther Vandross?
Never again. Yo, but at the time, I didn't bump Luther, Barry Manilow, Isaac Hayes. Like, I didn't have those guys, right?
Yeah, so all you're hearing is Usher.
Yeah, come on, bro. B2K and those guys. Yeah. And then so the question was also, as much as, I think you might be familiar with it. You remember Nipsey Hussle said in an interview, he was explaining when he's riding down the street, or if a gangbanger's riding down the street, you're not looking for the dude in the suit. You're not looking for
looks like you.
It looks exactly like you. So then when I'm writing this song, I'm not just talking, I'm talking to myself as if I believe I'm a reflection of other black men in society. Henceforth, the stereotype, the understated stereotype, the overstated stereotype, the actual stereotype. And then I'm asking, why are you insecure? Why do you need all this jewelry? Why do you need to talk about how many girls you have sex with? Why do you need to take pictures with cash in your hand? Why do you need to wear iced out grill? Do you need veneers? Go get veneers. Why? Like, there's a lot of things. I realize for us, for black men, and I just say black men first because that's who I am. That's what I am. And I think it's important for me to speak to my fellow black brothers. I find a lot of times we're taught to be the dust placed under the rug in a bedroom. Mm-hmm. So the dust is there. That's all the pain, the trauma. But then we're just told, oh, you're soft, swipe it under the rug.
Yeah.
But then those things, that trauma develops into insecurities as well. It might not look exactly like what everybody else deems as an insecurity, but it is an insecurity. You know what I mean? And so I start off the song like that because I find that question itself and that statement is relative. And it requires the person listening to it, which obviously is for black men, but it's also for, if you're a white woman dating a black man, if you're a black woman dating a black man, you should ask your man, do you feel insecure? Why are you insecure? Because then he's going to ask himself, why am I insecure? You know what I mean? So for me, that's what I wanted to start like that. And I'm happy that I started like that. And originally, the idea came from the black man, the world don't love you. Yeah. And that's okay. This need for continuously, I need to prove my worth. I need to prove my worth. I need to prove my worth. Like,
I
dude,
hate it.
Why? It's actually my favorite song. One of the 6 songs I've ever written that's made me cry. And yeah, like even now I'm working on a project, more of a experimental community project based around it, which obviously you're going to be part of. And so, yeah, I love that song.
No, that song is absolutely goated.
Yeah.
And
it's coming out March 7th.
Jeez, just now. Yeah. Listen, that song's absolutely goated. Like that song is, to me, is your best song.
Wow. And yes, it is.
And I think it's gonna stay your best song for a long time.
That's very well said. It is my best song.
No,
it is
100%. And I think too, why I thought that intro was so direct and so stark is because for sure there's a lot of trauma involved with being a black man,
100%.
And the world is not set to help you with that. But I think the bigger problem is using words like insecure, like. Yeah. Black men don't want to talk about themselves like that. 100%, yeah. If you say, "Why are you afraid?" Like, I'm not afraid. Yeah. They could dead ass be afraid. Yeah. But just because you use the word afraid,
it changes the whole thing. Yeah.
And I think that's why that stood out to me is because it's like these are words that like if we were even able to use these words more freely, we would talk about everything so differently.
It wouldn't be used
because it's like it's like you have friends where it's like clearly you're insecure. When we go around this type of setting, you act different. It's like it's obvious, but it's like. If I use the word insecure, you're gonna get triggered, and we don't even have a conversation. Yeah. But if I say why are you so shook instead, then maybe you'll open up.
Good point.
And it's like I think that's part of like we have this whole thing about where it's tough and we can handle anything, but we become like babies with our own emotions. Yeah. And it's like using a word like insecure, even though it's not a crazy word to everybody else.
Actually, you're right.
But it's like to black men, it is kind of a trigger word. Yeah. Of you being like, there's no way I'm insecure. And it's like. I've known you for 30 years. The behavior says otherwise, Yeah. And so it's like on a song like Black Boys to Men, you're just triggering you're triggering them all the way.
But you need that, right? The uncomfortable conversation is the most important type of conversation. And again, I feel just men in general can be insecure and we don't have that discussion. But this song is just because it's so close in proximity to where I was in the past, I felt addressing it to people that look like me, that come from where I come from, would actually, because that's what it is, right? Westernized black culture, if I could say westernized black American social culture, is what is the most influential. So why not? If record labels could use trap to damage communities, why can't I use it to help communities,
Nah, it's important. Nah, I feel like last thing about this song is that this is a song that's important to be made in general. On the
100%.
album podcast, I talk about how there's all these songs about love, and songs about love usually fit into the breakup category, or I'm trying to get her to like me category. Yeah. And when it comes to love and romance and even platonic relationships, there's a million things in between.
For sure.
And a lot of times the songs don't want to touch about all those things in between.
The uncomfortable conversations yet again.
And I think that this is one that it's like, there's songs about, pick up your bootstraps, hustle hard. There's a ton of songs like that.
Facts. The but it's like, got me though.
What?
To pick up your bootstraps?
A lie? So this is what throwback. We're saying like it's the 70s. But it's like a song like this that's saying like, why so insecure? I think that's absolutely huge. Tell me about this project compared to the music you made before. Do you feel like, I don't want to say it's more of a calm tone because there's songs where your feet are definitely leaving the ground. Some of these songs, but I'm saying this is like lyrically. Lyrically, it's a different tone. Talk about that.
So lyrically, I for lack of a better term, I want to say I don't want to say I dubbed it down. I was more precise, more concise with my words. I didn't want to waste a lyric. I still keep my classic like double, triple entendres just because I like to make a mockery of songwriting. And a lot of people think rappers can't be songwriters.
Foolish.
But I will agree that, or maybe not agree, but I will say on half point that it is a little bit more tamed. Just because I have a deeper voice, I can't necessarily hit. And just to be clear, I'm not a singer. You know, like, I'm a crooner. It's very different. You know, I'm a crooner.
You can claim singer.
Yeah, well, I don't want to disrespect for example, I don't want to like we had this conversation in the studio when we were working on a project. I was writing these lyrics out, and I was telling my two friends, Esther and Budlin, who are the two girls that sing on the project. I'm like, okay, can you girls sing this? And, you know, you have, like, the engineer is like, okay, well, I can melodyne it. And we're all looking at each other like, don't disrespect them. Like,
they got it,
you know? and me, sometimes I don't really get the note perfectly, so I have to do it a bunch of times. Or can we melodyne like this part there? And I'm very transparent about it because I'm teaching myself how to sing. You know, shout out to YouTube. And
big shout out to YouTube.
100%. And so I would say for sure it's a lot mellower. I'm not trying to project anything other than the topics that we were presented. And shout out to the producer, Home Run Hits. We were presented these subjects. Like, we didn't just decide we're gonna write, oh, okay. And my wife, like, sometimes it's like a hilarious discussion. Like on a song, I want to say everything, but I don't say nothing. So I don't say nothing is a part of, like, I don't want to leave you, but it feels wrong. And she's listening to it, she's like, yo,
you got something to say?
You got something to say? I'm like, yo, these songs are not about you. You know what I mean?
Yo.
But what I love is I'm transparent about it. These are actually actual emotions that people have. One of the songs is actually a friend of mine went through something, and I said, hey, is it okay if I write about that? He's laughing. He's like, yeah, go ahead. I'm like, all right, bet. And I'm gonna keep trying to do different things all the time, you know? And the thing with this project that I love the most is the fear I had going into it and the fearlessness I developed going through it. I didn't tell myself, oh, this sounds horrible. Man, what are people gonna think? I really don't care what people think. Can you imagine, I say like maybe 10 plus years doing music, the first song that I get that goes number one is an R&B song. Like,
craziness.
You know what I mean? And then it just showed me we put ourselves in too many boxes. Like you said at the beginning of the discussion, we put ourselves in too many boxes, and it's like, I'm not trying to sit here and say I'm a singer, you know, but I had a lot of people that I sent a couple of these songs to, and like, oh, you know, I feel like too many people are trying this and da-da-da-da. It's like, yeah, because you like a certain type of thing. It's okay to not like it. I'm okay with you. I'm not the artist. I'm not the artist that everyone likes because I don't make music about, first off, I don't sexualize my music. There's no profanity in my music. And people like to feel those things because, unfortunately, we live in a profane world, a sexualized world, and people want to be associated to those things according to it, so it's easier to fit in. I don't want to fit in. I don't want to be invited to your parties. I don't care about the listings of things. I just take notes. I'm just observational. And I think I'm a very emotionally intelligent person, you know? So when I write music with this project, I wanted to express that. This is less about my singing or me trying to sing than it is about me writing and expressing how emotionally intelligent I am.
And I feel like I saw this quote that said men are usually only comfortable with 3 emotions.
Okay.
I think it was anger, sadness, and happiness.
Damn.
And it was like,
that's rough.
And
if that's factual, that's rough.
And I said, when I heard that, I said, it's crazy to think that to number how many emotions there are. You get what I'm saying? Like, you don't think about that. You think of like, yeah, there's multiple emotions. But it's like, if you had to be like, are there 15 emotions that I'm aware of? 20 emotions that I'm aware of? Like this person said 3 for most men. And I think that when it comes to music and art, like, you're kind of choosing an emotion from this list. You know when you go to get wings and they got the 80 wing flavors, and you're like, what the hell is Bumble Honey Indian? You know, like, songs are kind of like that of like, the emotion is so distinct, it's so specific. It's like, this is the emotion of your girlfriend cheated on you, but it was with your friend who you've known. You know what I'm saying? It's like specific as hell. And it's like, a lot of times in a project, it's the truth that stands out. Of like, the music has to be great, of course. But it's like, they talked about 7 different emotions,
Yeah.
but they were true in the way they sang it, the way they rapped it, the lyrics they chose. And so it's like the truth, I think, comes out no matter what form you choose.
Yeah.
And you saying that you're focused on like the emotions of the song and having that before you actually singing.
Yeah.
I think is a testament to what you're trying to do. Because
I appreciate that, man.
like I think again the truth like cuts through anything.
Everything.
And as someone listens to multiple genres of music, you notice that across any genre.
100%, dude. And I wish you guys had like a relationship with him like I do. Like we talk about like literally everything. And that's why I think old punk rock music was the best type of music.
Yeah.
And not just not to take anything away from hip hop because you know hip hop had to the core, but punk rock music, the songwriting on that
was the whole point.
Holy fudge, man.
That was the whole point.
You want to like be able to deep dive into emotions and whether it's abandonment, seclusion, lack of confidence, unreal.
And I think this is kind of the difference between certain artists because I know Jay-Z talked about that a lot in hip hop, and you think about how like how much of an anomaly Jay-Z is.
Yeah.
When it's like that should be the whole genre.
Yeah.
The whole genre should be moving like we're going for the truth with every record.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of it. I think of someone like Amy Winehouse. And Amy Winehouse, the emotionality in all her records, she was not trying to do anything that was light.
Who would you say is, if we could name 3 to 4, or no, 3 to 5, who are artists you're listening to right now that you believe are great truth tellers?
Joji.
I don't know who that is.
Joji, got to listen to Joji, man. Joji's the truth.
Okay.
Yeah, Joji, it definitely is in there. I would still put Brent Faiyaz in there.
I think he's my first one, actually.
Yeah, Brent got to be in there. Cleo Soul.
That name sounds familiar.
I'll say you some Cleo Soul. Cleo Soul
Love
is the way, the truth, and the life. Like,
damn.
Respectfully. Cleo Soul is like,
you gotta be careful. That's blasphemous.
No,
that man said respectfully, quoting the Bible. Like, yo.
No. Cleo Soul is that real. Like,
that's dope. Okay, I'm gonna check that out.
Cleo Soul is that real. Yeah. We got Cleo Soul, Brent, Joji.
Yeah.
I think Saba would be in that group.
You know, he's probably and I'll share this with you. I think I'm gonna take a step away from doing songs with other artists.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. There's only one artist that I'm still gonna do music with. You know Chris the Spirit.
Yeah.
So him and I are working on a project together.
Okay, that's gonna be tough. You and Chris?
Yo, he's my favorite rapper.
That's gonna be tough.
Yeah, he's my favorite rapper.
You're cutting everybody off.
It's not cutting people off though.
You do what Kanye did with Wayne. I remember when Kanye said that about Wayne.
No way.
Yeah, he lied, but
well, obviously he lied. Kanye, come on, no disrespect, Easy, but no, it's just because I think it's just temperament. Because I've noticed, my biggest, I don't want to say it's a fear, an anxiety I have is that I get so caught up in wanting to attract the same type of synergy a big artist has, or an artist that has like a role, and that I lose myself in the idea of, am I genuinely trying to work with them because I like their music, or is it because they have momentum?
You're trying to create something,
right?
Yeah.
And I want to make this fully clear. It's not to take anything away from my peers, because I know honestly, when I think of independent artists, the only real independent artist that someone who I admire, I see their grind, like Dylan Ponders.
Yeah, Dylan is going hard.
That's someone like, if you're not thinking like that, like, I don't know what you're on, you know?
And you know what I think too? This is like, before we get into kind of the more of the project, I feel like the part with being independent is that a lot of times you're kind of like, I don't want to say told to feel, but you're like made to feel like the good music is not enough.
Exactly.
You know? And I think and it's like,
that's well said.
No, but it's true, because I think a lot of the times, especially when you're coming up, because there's a point when you're coming up and like no one knows who you are, and you're kind of like letting people know you make music in the first place.
Yeah.
And then after a couple of years of doing that, it's like, okay, you're established and you're independent.
Yep.
Let's see how they get to the next step.
Yep.
And I think once you get there, you're thinking like, I'm already good, obviously. And it's funny because being independent, you kind of even like inflate your own talent because you're independent. Because it's like someone who's bigger, like, oh, they have the machine or whatever, and you're like, nah, I'm independent. I could rap better than so and so. And sometimes you can, sometimes you can't.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
you inflate it because you're independent. But part of it is still thinking like, I need to actually just get better and make better songs and make better music and collab with someone who's better than me and collab with someone who can help me improve.
Exactly.
And I feel like a lot of times when you're independent, people feel like that's not the recipe. It's not, like no matter how good the song I make is, I got to deal with someone popping or get the right publicist. And I think that we got to get away from that.
That's what I believe too.
We got to get away from. We got to get back to thinking like, because when we put out the best songs I could put out, because I say this all the time, and I still think this is true. Your catalog of music, people are underrating that now. I think because we're in this like microwave,
single, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds. Yeah,
it's like you having this catalog of 40 fire songs that you've put out is gonna make a huge difference. I think about with Dave East. When I became a fan of Dave East, happened all in one day. Happened all in one day. And I heard a couple songs that said, this guy can rap. Okay,
he can definitely.
And I was like, okay, let's see what he's really doing. Went back and listened to like a few tapes. I said, oh, this is really what he does.
Yeah, he puts really good bodies of work together. He reminds me of remember when French and Harry Fraud were dropping stuff? Yeah, like that consistency.
Yeah.
And that's why, and when I do decide that like I'm in a space to work with artists again, I'll do that. But that's why I really want to start just working collaboratively with producers.
But I think that makes sense for you because you're someone who is trying to like improve and make better music
all the time.
And it's like you getting quote unquote corrupted by someone else. It's like they might have a good heart and everything, but they're just trying to think of how am I going to get popping? How am I going to make it?
100%.
This is the last part of lyrics I want to talk about. Okay. A letter from London. It's funny because I could have went into the album link that you sent me and listened to that, but I just went and listened to all the voice notes. And all the stuff instead. And so I listened to older versions of songs.
That's crazy. Okay.
Because you know you can go in the chat and see.
Yeah, that's dope.
From Black Boys to Men. I seen that like how that started.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It's completely different now.
You know, but a letter from London.
Yeah.
You had this thing talking about swerving in circles.
Yeah. And
I'll be all right. What's that? That seems like you were going through something at that time.
So funny story. That's the song that's not about me. None of the songs are actually about me, but that's the song that's about my friend.
Okay.
And I won't disclose the entirety of the situation, but he's not. I only wrote "Swerving in Circles" because we had a discussion after the aftermath of their relationship, and he just started seeing a lot of girls, and I was telling him it feels like you're just swerving in circles, and when you think of swerving, it's like So what I thought was every now and then you have an experience with a girl. I don't know if it's him trying to cover the tracks of the pain from the last one or the time. I don't want to say time you missed out, but just when you're in a relationship, some people after they get out of a relationship that they invested a lot of time in, they start thinking about, man, did I waste my time?
100%.
Right? And so when I say swerving, it's like you're in a car, you're swerving, meaning you don't fully have control of the car ever, but it doesn't mean that you can't control it to go into a straight path. And I find with him, what he was doing is he was swerving in circles. It's like almost like you're leaving the swerving on autopilot.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're like that. And then it's like, I'll be all right is his response to it. And I'm like telling him like, bro, I think, soul ties is a thing. I feel like you should. He's like, fam, will be all right. I'm like, all right.
Man.
So yeah.
Listen, I understand him.
Yeah.
I get him.
I see why you love Brent Fire so much, man.
Yeah. Listen, I already told you about Old Shorty recipes.
I know, I know.
So
I know.
We're
gonna leave that out of there.
Yeah. Not talking about that at all. I'm gonna skip this question because I feel like I've asked you this more than once about an animal that you would add to your life.
Yeah.
But we say the top 5 people in your life help make you who you are.
Yeah.
And instead of doing a top 5, I want you to say kind of what are some things that you would want people to look for someone in their life. Me and my brother, you know him.
Question.
We get a good talk yesterday about someone who's with you for real.
Yeah.
And it's like you can convince yourself someone is with you. You're like, I'm trying to work, I'm trying to hustle.
Yeah.
And they want to work and hustle too because you want to.
Yeah.
But it's different from someone who's already working and hustling and we just align.
Yeah.
So is there anything that like is a character trait that you would be like, look for this in people in your life?
So if you're so like if you permit, like if you're looking for friends in terms of like friends, companions,
Yeah.
and relationships, the first thing I would look for is consideration.
I like that.
I believe with consideration begets accountability. Accountability begets the opportunity for responsibility. Responsibility admires trust. Trust promotes loyalty, and all of that just encompasses love, you know? So I think look for those things in friends. In a partner, in my case, like obviously being married, you know, shout out to my wife as well. I would say look for, if you're courting someone, look for honesty, again, accountability, the same aspect. And then if you're someone who's thinking about getting married, if you're a man, really be loving and accountable and transparent. And you know, it's in the Bible it talks about, you know, women be submissive to your husbands. I don't think people actually understand what that submission means. And I don't like that the social world, when they take those cuts now, they make it sound like a woman should do nothing with her life. That's not what that means.
Yep.
It's not what it means. It just shows that women and men are wired differently. A woman is habitually more emotional than in comparison to a man being more habitually pragmatic. You know, a girl says, I don't want to speak to you. All right, I'm pragmatic. You don't want to speak to me? That's it.
That's what you said.
Oh, you're not going to talk to me? You just said don't speak to me.
You're not going to fight for me?
Right? So it's that. And who wouldn't, what great woman wouldn't want to be submissive to her husband? And again, the submission is not to say I don't do anything. Like, for example, in my marriage, when it comes to financing, my wife is the person that handles that. And she's submissive in the aspect of, I'm going to go talk to him and let him know, hey, this is the budget. We need to do this. We need to do that. Say no more.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, and I'm fortunate, right? Like, and her and I come from two different worlds. But being able to have uncomfortable conversations, being able to be transparent, those are aspects that I think if you're going to have friendships and you can't have those, just stay home. Stay home.
I like that. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, just stay home.
Yeah, that really reminded me of this saying that I trying to remember who said this, but it's like once you raise the standards for yourself, you raise the standards for everyone else around you.
Exactly.
And it's like that is a biggest gem.
It's crazy.
Because a lot of times, so much things in our life we like remove it from us.
We do.
We're like, yo, this is happening to me. This is happening around me.
Why?
Yeah. And it's like, you know, your brain being the strongest part of your body, people take for granted. And a lot of it is like, Will Smith is the one who had this quote. He said, danger is real, fear is not. He said, the lion can kill you. Yeah. It is actually dangerous. You have a reason
to fear.
Yeah. It is actually dangerous, but you fearing it is a choice. Yeah. You could choose not to fear it and attack it, or you could choose to fear it, but that's up to you. Yeah. And when you think about that, it's like, yeah, the danger is real.
That's real.
But it's your choice to fear it or not fear it. And so when you think about that, it's like that's something that we don't, as a whole, always think about. We think about things from the perspective of, this is happening to me. Yeah. This person hurt my feelings. Yeah. And I always think, like, you got to think about, why do you care? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you said something I didn't like, I'm going to really think, why did I not like that? Yeah. Why do I care what Patrik says?
Yeah, self-awareness.
And so I think that's a huge part of it. This episode has had way too many gems.
A lot of gems.
That I feel like...
I actually want to ask you something, too, because I had this discussion before we close out. What's your thought on hearing someone say, I have to do this, I have to do that?
I think that is not always negative. Okay. But I think it goes back to what I'm saying of how you view yourself. The example I always think of is with school. I graduated 2020. Yeah. And I've never been a big school guy, but I am extremely educated.
We made it.
But I've never been a school guy. 2 degrees, but that's never been who I was. Yeah. But the reason why I graduated, I never thought about not graduating. Even when I was failing courses, couldn't get to class, whatever it was, the worst case scenario for me didn't include dropping out.
100%.
It just included taking more time or doing whatever it is. So in my head, it was almost like I have to graduate. I wasn't even entertaining not graduating. Yeah. So whatever you think you have to do is kind of how you're going to behave. Yeah. So if you think you have to do something that includes you being stressed out or you not feeling grounded,
Mm-hmm.
you almost are like leading yourself to not feel
Yeah.
grounded and be stressed out. You're
Yeah.
manifesting that by saying that.
Yeah.
So I have to, I think, is just encapsulation of where your mind is at.
Yeah.
Because you could look at it the other way as like, I have to make this project, or I have to make this song, or I have to.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I have to is not necessarily bad, but it's
Yeah.
like, that's a choice. I have to is still
There
a
it
choice.
is. And
You're choosing to
there
think
it
that
is.
I have to.
There it is. I don't think we have to do anything.
It's a choice, yeah.
I think we choose to. And if there's anything you need to do, the only thing I believe is you need to breathe. That's it.
Breathe.
That's it. That's it. Like, you can't control your breathing, right? You just do.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's like when people say, yeah, I was telling someone, oh, I have to go to an interview, and I stopped. I'm like, I'm trying to go to this interview.
Yeah.
I want to go to this interview. Okay, perfect. Because that's programming too, you know? So that's part of, the gems.
I think if you get anything from this conversation, remember, you're programming yourself. That's the thing. That's the thing that I feel like I try to remind everyone I talk to at any point, because even myself, I remind myself.
Mm-hmm.
So many things, it's just in our head, and we don't remember how it got there.
Yeah.
And we're just like,
where does this start coming from?
Why are we thinking this?
Be kind to yourself, man. Be kind to yourself.
Be kind to, because I think a lot of times is we think of things in the version of what I don't want to happen than what I do want to happen. And like, as a single man, and people talking about dating, I hear it a lot of women, men saying, I don't want to be with someone who's like this, or I don't want this. And it's like, we talk so much and spend so much time thinking about what we don't want, and we got to think about what we do want, and use that same energy to be like, I really want to meet someone who,
I don't want to say the whole like attracted, but change your mindset. Yo, you got to get in life, and I think every single traumatic experience I have, and I think the project's for that, but get comfortable with the worst case scenario. That's why people are broken, man. They assume the worst case scenario will never happen. Yo, I assume the worst thing's gonna happen all the time.
You have to.
In a healthy manner. Yeah. Because after that, and everything's going great, all right, and you just stop, you're like, hold up.
That part you just said is huge, because I think, like, this example I was thinking of, I had a friend of mine, and we were talking about prom, how long ago prom was. I was like, remember when so-and-so asked you to prom? And she goes, yeah, you let him ask me, and whatever. And I say, yeah, like, you could just said no.
Yeah, facts.
And she's like, how would I do that? I don't want to seem like an asshole.
Wow.
And I go, is that the worst thing in the world? And it's like, that's what people think of, like, me seeming like an asshole is the worst thing in the world. And it's like, it's really not.
That's why Kobe is the greatest.
That's why Kobe is the greatest. And so I think that as well, it's like, you got to really realize, like, even the worst case scenario isn't the worst thing in the world.
Scenario. Yeah, exactly. Unless you're dead, bro, there is enough room.
There are levels
for development.
There's levels. There's levels. There's levels. Man.
Oh my dude.
Last but not least, I don't know what the date is for this project.
Yeah. So the first part of the project is actually already out. It was released on. It was called. I called it Hide and Seek. So it's a private link where you have to kind of play around with the website to be able to listen to the project. And then this 2-part of the project, which I did as a conclusion to the first part, because we love the concept so much, is going to come out, I think, April 2nd.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then they'll have extra songs on there.
Okay. It's like a little deluxe thing.
Yeah. I didn't want to call it deluxe because every time I hear deluxe, I think of like Burger King or like McDonald's. I should say Michael Donald's.
Donald's.
But yeah, man. No, I'm really excited for this project. I'm excited for all the visuals. Like Saturday, I'm gonna go shoot a video. March 7th, I have a show. I just did a podcast interview yesterday with a couple of friends too. So I'm just doing. I want to be. I don't want to rely so much on. I actually want to see how much I can promo this without the promo, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know,
I like that.
Like it's like a whole really experimental. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Now I'm excited for it. I think you got a great body of work here.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
I'm very proud of what you've done. So I'm excited for everyone to hear it.
I appreciate it.
And I gotta say this, man. Like, please, if it's your first time hearing from Patrik, hearing Patrik's music, tap in and go back.
100%.
I tried to sing a song. It's different from
everything
different
else.
from what's before.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fire before. So please tap in and go back. If you've made it all the way to the end of this podcast, you know what to do. Leave a rating and a review.
Yeah.
5 stars, not a single star less. Make sure you follow us. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever in God's name you listen to podcasts. Make sure you go ahead and follow us. Follow us on Instagram as well at The Cool Table Live. Subscribe to us on YouTube at The Cool Table Live. And until next time, know yourself, know your worth.